Hello, David. I think this is the fourth, possibly the fifth chat that we've had with your good self.
Yes, it is. Looking forward to it very
Oh, is it?
much.
Excellent. Last time I think it was
Is it
just me and
really?
you.
We
It
had
is,
that
yeah,
many.
yeah,
I know we've
yeah,
had a few.
yeah. We had one like a pre-publication meeting. I think you weren't in the last one, Steve, but I'm delighted
No,
that
he
you're here
wasn't.
with us
Steve wasn't
today.
in the last one.
Yeah, yeah,
Ah, that's why. That's why. I thought I didn't think we'd had that. Well, I'd had that many anyway,
oh,
but I think we'd had a couple.
yeah. You,
Yeah.
you don't,
We
you only
talked
talk about.
about that pub up the road from you and all
I was going to
sorts
say
around
that.
your
Yeah.
area. But
Is it still there? That
yeah.
pub. What was it called?
Which pub?
Oh,
Oh,
I can't
no,
remember.
no. It's been knocked down.
Oh, okay.
They're putting
Right.
in a massive, truly for this area, a truly massive roadworks to avoid that roundabout outside the pub. Also, because it's the major road from Swindon to the M5, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, they've completely knocked the pub down. It's now actually the works, the site works for the tunneling and the whatever they're doing it.
Huh.
So sadly,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we won't be going there again.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just a landmark that stood out for me from all the years and years ago, back to 1980 or whatever, Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
common
Yeah.
thing, though, isn't it? Most pubs, well, like what, 70% of pubs have closed down over the past few
I
years.
know. Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
in, and if you're
But
interested, I know we're going to be talking about the mongoose and the cobra, but of course, for the last more than 6 months, I've been writing the fifth one, and the fifth one, as I mentioned in the front of the mongoose and the cobra,
Yeah.
is going to be called the Green Feathers, and I mentioned that because the Green Feathers is a pub in the book, so
Okay.
so there will be a pub reference in the
Oh, that's
right,
good. Yeah.
right,
Hey.
right. I'm a little confused now. You say fifth one,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? We've got the tip of the iceberg, the collation unit, not a pipe, the violin and a candlestick, and the mongoose and the whatever.
Yeah.
That's five, and then
Yeah,
that's so
sure. You're,
feathers is
you're,
the sixth then.
yeah, you're right. What's happened is I wrote the collation unit, which is set 40 years ago and is standalone. And then when Hobeck said they wanted
Yes,
to
right.
publish the Mike Kingdom series, um, they haven't republished
Yeah,
the collation unit, not for any reason other than, you have to go slowly. So I tend to talk about my books now, and when people talk to me, when readers talk to me, they tend to talk to me about the Mike Kingdom series. So I tend to get into one, two, three, four. But but
understandably. Yeah.
but you're absolutely right, Steve. Steve, it is actually I'm writing the six of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
but in the Mike Kingdom series, which is what we're really interested in, because yeah, you can follow the story. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
For
yeah.
anyone who hasn't read them, can you give us a
No,
brief outline, the genre and what's about?
Um, it's about a female CIA uh, agent, analyst.
Mike's a lady.
Yeah, it's Michaela
Michaela.
Kingdom, Michaela Kingdom. But for some reason, when I started writing her originally, uh, I started in 1999. Um, she was meant to be a man. I think I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was, at the very, very beginning when things are not in any way concrete, and I needed this character, and I came up with the name. And then for some reason, she was a woman. I still don't know why, and she wanted to be called. So that's what happened. And since then, of course, she exists now in my head completely. So she's a CIA analyst, actually, in London, working in the London office. And I think the point is that there's a difference between the people who sit in the office and do all the um, desk work and the analysis, as opposed to the case officers and what we would call the spies out in the real world,
The field.
out in the field. And
Field
what happens
operatives.
with
Yeah.
her is that she tends to get the two mixed up a bit, or rather, her boss does, because for different reasons in each book, she tends to end up getting caught up in some event abroad,
Yeah.
as you know.
Oh yeah. Is I know the first couple of books. There was sort of she was a fish out of water, but now on the latest books and the book you're working on, is she less of a fish out of water? Is she more at ease now working out in the field?
Yeah, she moans about it. She has this love
Yeah,
hate
definitely
love
moans about
hate.
it in this one.
She has this love hate father-daughter relationship with her boss Leonard, who's
Leonard,
the
yeah,
head of station director in London. Um, and she is very feisty, extremely feisty, and he she thinks she's controlling him in what she does, but he, in the most subtle ways, controls her. And I think that's also a dynamic that I enjoy writing very much.
Yeah.
So the Violin and the Candlestick, then. I've read it, really enjoyed it, brilliant. So for those who haven't, obviously, tell us briefly what that one's about and what's going on behind the scenes.
Now, you see, you're testing my memory now, aren't you?
And it's been a while since I've read it, actually. A couple of months ago.
Get me back on the question as soon as I deviate. But this is an interesting thing when you talk to other writers, as you are, and talking to other writers. My head is full of the green feathers at the moment. We're in the blog tour for the Mongoose and the Cobra, and you're asking me about the one before that. So
it is a memory test.
It is a memory test, but the Violin and Candlestick is really about it's set in the Middle East, I suppose, broadly, particularly the Oman UAE Emirates border, and it's really it's slightly different because Leonard is ill for a while, and Mike has to deal with something for him in the Middle East, looking for, I suppose you call it a mole or in the system. It also has a little bit of, although it's not central to the book, a little bit about Bitcoin, but not Bitcoin buying and selling. It's Bitcoin mining, as they call it, because
I can't get my head around that, David. I haven't got a clue. I think I've read briefly about mining Bitcoin, but I haven't got a clue if somebody asked me.
Well, I didn't either, and without giving too much away about the book, but so I did a little. It's only a sub plot, but I just wanted to understand myself how this how these coins were mined. But as I say, it's an absolute minor part of the plot, really.
Yeah.
So that's the Violin and Candlestick.
Okay, less of a memory test now. Let's get up more up to date with this beauty. You're on a blog tour. Tell us about the book and tell us about the blog tour.
Well, it was published on the 25th, and the blog tour started on the 24th. The reviews are wonderful. I'm
excellent,
absolutely thrilled with them. And a common theme in the reviews, two I would pick out really. One is the humor that comes through. I think most people pick up on the humor because Mike is so tetchy, and she has this lovely relationship not only with her boss but with her. Well, I can't use the word boyfriend because I don't think he is her boyfriend, but yet possibly. But so the huge opportunities for humor in it. But the other, I think, almost in almost every review, because the book is one of the themes is undersea cables, internet undersea cables, power and gas and whatever. Of course, undersea, I wrote it, 14 months ago, but undersea internet cables are
now
really
getting attacked, aren't they? Now,
yeah, exactly. Well, when I started writing it, and again, going back to what I like to do is research further something I have, and I get an interest in, I read about, and when I had the idea for the book, I presumed that you and I talking now, the three of us talking now, all our emails, all our mobile phones, I presume that the vast majority of it went via satellite now because there are thousands of satellites.
Yeah.
As soon as I did some research, 95%
Yeah.
of internet traffic goes in undersea cables.
Yeah.
Still, it's only 5% goes via. And as soon as I read that, it began to make a bit more sense to me why Putin and so many other interested parties around the world are sending rusty old tankers and
To chop the cables up.
chopping the cables up because
Yeah.
the impact theoretically
Yeah.
is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And the cable I was quite interested in was one of the earlier ones, which goes from Bilbao in Spain
Yeah.
and comes up, excuse me, to Cornwall
Oh yeah.
and then goes across to America. So one of our main connections with Europe and America is Bilbao, I'll say Cornwall, and Cornwall, Somerset. There's a couple, and goes off to towards New York,
Yeah.
and that's one of our main cables. And most people haven't got a clue probably.
Do you know, this sounds a bit nerdy. I worked in 1987. I worked for ICL, and they were laying the first underground sea cable between Breen down south and
Yeah.
Manaskin just outside of New York. A project called PTAT. It was the first private transatlantic telephone.
Okay.
And it nearly bust the company. It nearly bust ICL. They didn't develop the software in time, but good weather saved them. Apparently, they were sort of 6 months behind schedule, but because the ships were going out laying the cables under the sea, bad weather kept the ships in harbour. So that was the reason, the official reason why the project was delayed, not because of the software update. But I was brought in to test what they had to
Yeah.
identify bugs. I was like a kid in a toy shop. Go on, break that system. And I did. They broke it, identified bugs, they fixed them, and they got it there in time. But even then, I think that they're still active now, back from way back in 1987, 88.
Yeah, that's why I was careful when I said
Where they are.
Cornwall and whatever. One of them comes into Somerset, and one of them comes into Bude in Cornwall. There may be others,
Yeah, of course.
but it's fascinating, isn't it, that
Yeah.
Part of this, well, not part of this conversation, but so many conversations and internet searches and whatever are whizzing around from Bilbao to southwest England and
Yeah.
so yeah, that was one of the backdrops for the Mongoose and the Cobra. I just wondered, the main one of the main uh, characters in this book is a billionaire. She is the major donor, political donor in the USA, and her company lays. She owns the company that
Yeah.
lays these undersea cables,
Oh, yeah.
and she has two sons. She's overprotective, ridiculously overprotective of her two sons. And I just wondered what would happen if her sons were threatened. And this is where the book starts to kick off.
Well, I love the sound of it.
It's always difficult, isn't it, when you're talking about thrillers, um, discussing them. It's very hard not to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about the second half of the
Yeah.
book, which obviously people want to read.
Yeah.
But as you two haven't read completely The
Mongoose.
Mongoose yet,
Yeah.
Early on, there's a major change for Mike because I wanted to. I don't want to write the same thing every time. It's very important for me, but more importantly for the reader, that she
Yeah.
develops as well. Otherwise they just become pastiches of the previous book, of the previous book, of the previous book. So
Yeah.
I think you'll find, there's some interesting changes,
Oh,
not to the format, but to circumstance.
okay.
Okay. Well, while we're talking about Mike, and
Yeah,
in the book so far, she has these 3 wigs,
yeah,
which we gets mentioned quite a few times. Which wig she's going to wear today, or
yeah.
So where did you get their inspiration for that? Where did that all come from?
Well, I'm going to tell you honestly, and it's in no way sad or morbid. It's not sad or morbid, but when my late wife had cancer for 18 months before she died, obviously she had chemo. And she was a feisty woman as well. There's a little bit of her in Mike, I have to say.
Ah, they
And
normally say that. Yeah.
yeah, and she when she ended up losing her hair, uh, she already pre for all of her life she used to have outrageous hair, whether it was dyed red or purple or black or green or whatever she did. So of course, when she lost her hair, she went to a special wig shop. And she was like a kid, like a kid in a candy store. She was trying on every wig, you know. Oh, this is great, great blonde one, or
Yeah.
and I just thought, actually, that really suits Mike's character. And of course, she'd lost her hair in the character had lost
The
her hair
actions.
in
Yeah.
an accident
Yeah.
anyway. And I thought I could sort of use that slightly in the Mongoose. You'll find that she's discovered a cap she likes. So there's a cap appeared.
Oh, I was going to mention that. Does it carry on in the Mongoose or is it something else? But yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
no,
You've just answered that.
yeah, there's a cap. I'll let you read about the cap that she wears.
That's a nice
Oh, yeah.
homage. That's to your wife's memory as
Excellent.
well, isn't it?
What's that?
It's a nice homage to your wife's
Yeah,
memory as
exactly,
well.
exactly.
Yeah,
I say it's in no way
yeah,
morbid.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, y- if you haven't had life experiences,
Mm,
good and bad,
yeah,
it's quite hard to write. If I call this a serious novel, I don't mean it. There's humor in it, lots of humor, but
yeah.
y-
But
uh,
it's a literary novel, though. I mean, no,
yeah,
it's not pulp, not paper fiction, pulp fiction.
no, no, and it's got to involve. Um, I say some real life, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
got things go well and things go badly. That happens to all of us,
of course,
So
of
you know,
course. Yeah,
so I'm very happy to draw on, like I draw on my travel. I've
yeah.
traveled through my work all my life, and I draw on that in the settings, whether it's um, Oman and the Emirates, or in the Mongoose, some Spanish and Bilbao, and because I know them quite well, so I thought why not put them in?
Okay. David, you mentioned that reviews are getting better. Is it because now that you've got a bit of a back catalogue, are the reviews snowballing? Are people, picking up one novel and think, oh, more in the series, let's go back and buy the first, the second, the third, and the fourth? Are
Yeah,
you finding that?
yeah. It's obviously I would love millions of people to
Of
do
course.
that. But
Yeah.
all writers would love that,
Oh,
but
yeah. Yeah.
um, I think it does get easier because um, and it is. I've spoken to two people recently who have discovered the books and have actually contacted me,
Yeah.
and one of them discovered the latest, the Mongoose, having read the reviews on X, Twitter.
Yeah.
So he is reading them backwards.
What? Oh,
Yes,
you mean
exactly.
back from the end to
Uh,
the.
yes, because he discovered I'm going to call the fourth or third,
Okay.
is it?
Yeah.
He's this is Steve's fault now. He's going to mess me up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so he discovered it at the end. So I thought he would go back to number one, and no,
Yeah.
he's reading them backwards. Now,
Strange.
this is beyond my comprehension because, of course, I can't do that because I wrote the
Yeah.
damn things.
Well,
But
of course. Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Well, my sister, literally reads backwards. Before she starts a book, she'll read the last chapter, which
yeah,
kills any enjoyment for me. I want to build up that tension and a bit of a suspense to get to the last chapter. But she always does
yeah,
that, regardless of whether it's a favorite novelist or someone she'd never heard of. She always reads the last one. Does my head in.
yeah.
I can't do that. Yeah.
That is a bit strange, I have to say. But I'm sure there are many people who do that. Um, the I do think that it's a lot easier for uh, a relatively unknown writer if you do have a series, because as you suggested, that when somebody reads one of them, they are obviously far, far more likely to want to read. If they like the main characters
Yeah.
or the main character in this case,
Yeah.
they're much, much more likely to buy another of your books.
Exactly what Steve's done. What Steve?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think it's a good thing. How many more I write, I don't know. It's I don't want to write hundreds of them, but as I'm writing the fifth in this series at the moment. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I just about finished it yesterday, the first draft. It'll be draft rejigged for 3-4 months before it goes to the editor. But so that's that one, and I'm not even thinking about the one after that yet. But I need a 2-week break before I start.
Okay.
So that's likely to go on for a little while. The My Kingdom series, and you think?
I think there'll be 6 of them. Yeah, ask me after I've done written the 6th one, but I know where it's heading already in the Green Feathers. So I think there could be a one more after that might maybe tie up a couple of things. Might be good.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of Mark Billingham books at the moment, and he's got the character D.I. Tom Thorne in it, and you can follow him. And I think he must have written something like 20 books just with the D.I., the same D.I. in it, And I must admit, I can't stop reading them because it's just, you're following the character in the book, and it's like you say, it's
actually
books. It's good.
Can I say, talking about people reading your book or commenting on your book? I don't know whether you've heard of I.S. Berry, Ilana Berry. So she wrote The Peacock and the Sparrow, which was last year, her debut novel. She's American. And it was the Sunday Times Thriller of the Year. And she's won every award in America for this thriller. And it's an utterly brilliant book. I loved it completely. So for various reasons, we were in contact. Now, what I need to tell you about Ilana Berry, you knowing who My Kingdom is in my books.
Yeah.
Ilana Berry she is a female CIA agent in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah. I'm now talking to me, a man writing about a female CIA agent, and I'm talking to a female CIA agent.
Yeah.
Well, she's retired now. Obviously, wouldn't be allowed to write if she was still active. So her novel's set in Bahrain and is absolutely brilliant. Nothing like mine, absolutely totally different. And her main character is an older man. So it seems like we've swapped over, really.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. And you had a CIA operative in the Candlestick, didn't you? Chris Crispin?
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, there's a few of them floating around.
Yeah, well, now you raise this guy Chris Crippen, who is
Crippen, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, Crippen, who joins Mike in part of her task of what she's looking for. And when I sent the books to some beta readers to just test it prior to obviously going anywhere near the publisher, Chris Crippen is in a wheelchair. He's an American basketball player. So
right.
I have got, in old language, a disabled character, and I am not disabled in that way. So what you have to, the beta readers were saying, are you sure you want to go here? And I'm as abusive about him as I am about all the other characters, because I took the attitude, I write about everybody, and I'm not singling anybody out for whatever reason. And it was quite interesting. People thoroughly enjoyed it, but they're just nervous when you move away from the sort of the safe part, if I can call it the safe middle ground.
Yeah.
But I thought, why not? I thought he was a great character. So, what did you think?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, I enjoyed him actually, and I thought when you first introduced him into the book, I was like, He sounds like a dodgy character, but I wasn't sure what he was one way or the other for a while. It took me a while to trust him, if you like. And then his name, you're saying he's disabled, and his name is Crippen, as in Crip.
That was the this is why, I mean, without giving too much away, but very early on, very, very early on, I think it's the first chapter, isn't it? That Leonard is saying to Mike that there is somebody else, another operative, who's also removed that she should work with, and his name is Crip. She said, "You cannot call him that." She's absolutely, totally outraged. And he says, "No, his name is Crippen." And he's in a basketball team, and his mates call him Crip because they would. That's what football or basketball teams.
I was laughing at that, actually, when I read it.
Is the book real, or is it meant to be all sugar coated?
That's real life characters. Yeah. So, now that you're an established writer with a catalogue and more to come as well, have you got yourself a writing room yet? Have you got your little office? Have you got your little writing socks on and your writing desk?
Well, you're looking at it.
Yeah. Looks different from last time. I think wasn't there a view over the river? Is that if you've moved rooms?
Outside? No. The obviously it's dark now. But no, the river's still flowing. The otters. I have a camera right outside my window here, literally 2 meters away.
Yeah.
Last night this morning at 5 o'clock, the camera, the otter came up and headbutted the camera because the little light comes on and all the whiskers, so I'm very lucky, and I have to stop myself setting everything on a river with otters because obviously you need to be a bit more diverse than that.
Okay.
Super. Yeah. So I don't think you mentioned this before, Terry, did you? Have you had any approach from screenwriters, film writers, or you've got an established character there and a good storyline, and it makes for good TV, wouldn't it?
Totally agree.
Good film, perhaps.
Spot on,
No, I haven't, and I think the only thing that's happened recently is, without going into too many details, mainly because I don't know them, is I think somebody's interested in the rights to the books, either in terms of audio or foreign translations. So that's being explored at the moment. But whether that comes to anything, as you know, with approaches, you explore things, and some work and some don't. But obviously, I'd love to see. Well, who wouldn't? Who writes a book? Who wouldn't like to see it on the small screen or big screen? But maybe by the time I get to the 5th and 6th, it will build up enough groundswell that people will get to hear of it. Really,
love to see it.
Yeah, it's probably a bit of luck, isn't it? I mean, I've seen some authors have been picked up straight away with the first couple of novels and then been dropped, and others who wait such a long time before anyone picks it up at all. So swings and roundabouts.
In talking to Alana Berry, of course, you can imagine she is the spy thriller writer in the world this year. Well, the last 12 months.
Yeah.
Her debut novel's off the scale, and she was saying to me that of course, you can imagine the publisher wants the second novel yesterday.
Yeah.
And she's I don't know where she is. Let me say halfway through. I have no idea. She said she's changed the plot over 13 times already, because this is the problem with the second novel. If your first one's successful, you almost get paralyzed in thinking it's not as good as the first one.
It's on the names of the books and why they're slightly different. I just assumed that they were all punchy titles, and when it went to Violin and Candlesticks and Mongoose and Cobra, it was a bit. It's not quite. This is not a pipe. But now we did discuss this off air before, didn't we? Yeah. And now I understand a little more why. Yeah.
Two of them are based on the names of paintings. And as I said to you, the one that I'm writing at the moment is based on the name of a pub. So I'm a bit random, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember in the early days when we first discussed it, you're saying about the titles and the covers, what did we think? And I really liked them, the way you'd set them out on the front and the names of them. And then it really threw me when I got the violin and the candlestick. It was like, why has it changed? And there's a candlestick. And, I picked it up when I read the book, obviously, what it was. But
I think Terry and I may have discussed this before, but in absolute brief, I did my own covers. I call them the grey covers as a series. But when the publisher took me on, they want them to be. There's nothing wrong with the covers. It's about having a punch on a postage stamp size on the internet or whatever. And so we got an excellent cover designer who, of course, redid The Tip of the Iceberg, This Is Not a Pipe, Violin and Candlestick, now The Mongoose and the Cobra. So, and as you can see from the cover you're holding, this peeled up paper that's on the front page, as if that's now a theme through all of them. So I'm really pleased with them. And, people seem to like them, so that's good.
But it's been an absolute pleasure as ever. And let's keep in touch for the Green Serpent?
The Green Feathers.
Green Feathers.
Green Feather.
Yeah. Now that's intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be thinking about the cover now. Won't you?
I am.
What's going to be on the cover? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I am. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. It could be a pub picture.
Yeah.
It could be a green feather, or could it be something completely different?
I don't know if you've got 1 minute left. 1 minute left.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I would say the idea for the not really the book, but the reason the pub features in it is because I went to a pub about 100 years ago, it seems like, when I was a very, very young man. I think it was called something like the Feathers. It's not there anymore. But what was important about it was it didn't have a bar.
Huh?
When you went through the door, you feel like you're walking into somebody's lounge. And this woman comes out and asks you what you want and disappears off and brings you a pint of beer or whatever. And it didn't have it had never had a bar. And I thought, I had one or two experiences in that pub as a sort of 18, 20-year-old. And I thought, so when I started writing the green, what I call now the Green Feathers, I thought that'll make a nice little setting for, the start of things. So that's why it's called the Green Feathers.
Unusual.
And it doesn't have a bar.
Okay. So on that note, I think we can beat that. Yeah. But listen, the time's going to run out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But let's keep in touch as we have been, David, and
we
look
will.
forward to the next chat.
Okay. And Steve, are you still at the same address? I'll send you a copy of the Mongoose.
Yes, I am. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Brilliant.
I'll send you a Mongoose.